And welcome back to the Hot Lap, where we are discussing Gran Turismo 7. More significantly, the 5 things that Gran Turismo 7 needs to desperately improve. And a couple of these things, at least one very significant thing, hasn't changed since Gran Turismo 7 was launched all the way back in March of 2022. So, let's get into our first thing. And that is number 1, the, let's be fair, absolutely ridiculous price of those legendary cars. As you can see, okay, 1.5 million is not bad, but then we've got both McLarens, 20 million for the 97 F1 GTR, 15 million for the McLaren BMW. Now, yes, there are fixes and guides to getting these millions, but it's absolutely ridiculous. You would have to also pay, let's just say, an extortionate amount of money. I mean, 8.5 million, that is a lot, but I kind of guess maybe on the 8 million from that could be tops. And the Alfa Romeo from, 1938 at 20 million credits. And the issue here is, this is a car that you're hardly ever going to race. Yes, it looks absolutely amazing. Yes, it does look lovely, but you're never going to race it. And therein lies the big problem, is some of them aren't even worth getting unless you are a absolutely avid fan of the car. It's kind of depressing. So let's get into our next one. Let's get into number 2. And as you can see here, we are looking at those used cars. I love the used cars, as I imagine do most of you. It's a really good way to get a slightly cheap car, or let's just say, if you're a Pokemon fan, a pseudo-legendary car. Yes, Pokemon fans, pseudo-legendary. One that's not as expensive, but I imagine means the world to you. Now, the only issue here is, I think, 9 out of 10 at the moment. To get 10 out of 10, pure perfection from Sony and the Polyphony Digital, if I've got that right, is to get these used cars and to have them renew more often. Now, the older Gran Turismo games used to renew them, for example, in-game time. So after you had, for example, a world championship, you've done a few races, then it would renew. The cars would be there, new cars would take their place, voila, and all would be right with the world. Yes. So, that's my rant over about the used cars. On to the next one. And the next one very much is number 3. Now, this is one of the big things here. I think, arguably for some, one of the biggest things. I'm looking at in my garage, my GT3 cars, or otherwise known as GR3, which is the showcase in many ways of Gran Turismo. When you look at it, it's normally GR3 or GR4 that you see the live stream on the official Gran Turismo Championships. This is the series they're championing, and they do have a massive selection of cars, I think. However, and here's the but, as you can see, all you need to do is look at some of the dates. Ferrari from 2013. You know, you've got cars from 2016. It's just not good enough. There's hardly any new relevant cars. I mean, you've got a McLaren from 2015 that's been replaced. Yeah, I get some of them are, legendary cars like the McLaren F1. But quite frankly, I feel, as do many, these selection of modern cars that you can race in a modern setting, a la competing with Assetto Corsa, Competizione, ACC, and maybe even iRacing. Yeah, I know they're, console, ACC, but PC, the PC Master Race for iRacing, you're never going to compete fully with, because they are full-on hardcore sims, but they have a much better selection of cars. I don't know whether it comes down to licensing, but I do feel it's just not good enough for what is known as the real driving simulator. And even some of the DLC cars, some of them are really good, some of them are really very much lackluster. It is a massive mixed bag, but on a plus note, we don't have to pay for those. We don't have to pay for those extra cars, so that's a bonus. So let's get into number 4. And this is a fairly big one. fix those custom races. Now, there's a couple of interesting points there. Two really, really big ones. We've got the Sophie AI, so that's always really good, except you can't really customize that to the point where I think a lot of people like, including us here at the Hot Lap. But the other thing I'm about to show everyone is rolling starts. And this has been the case since the beginning. Like, hey, 20-meter interval, let's make it 27. Nope, it's still 15. Let's make it 33. Nope, it's still 15. Let's go all the way and make it 50, sorry, 50, not 15, but no, it reverts back to 15, and it seems there's nothing we can do to make it anything more than 15 meters, which then, when you do end up starting the race, it almost gets kind of ridiculous. Now, the other thing, while I'm at it, as we're scrolling down, is the professional level, the professional difficulty. Why? Well, in custom races here, not planned events, let's say, it is far too easy. Now, I am no hardcore Gran Turismo player, but when you see, when we do eventually start the Spa race, I look like Lewis Hamilton cutting through a mini race almost on this one lap of Spa. It's not very good. So there we go. We've got the lovely 15 meters, which doesn't really give you much space at all. But here we go into La Source, and you can already see there, my car is really, far too powerful. I've done this with BOP on and BOP off, and it just seems that even though it is on hard mode, it is not satisfactory if you are even casually good at the game. And we would much rather hear, like, what F1 2024 and the Codemasters F1 games, goodness me, I'm comparing them to Gran Turismo, but one thing they have done is add a slider to how good the AI are, and also some games have a slider to how aggressive the AI are. And for something that is such an amazing game, amazing graphics, can offer absolutely fantastic online stuff, which we won't be talking about here today, it's such a massive miss for Gran Turismo and a massive shame. So better custom races, please, Polyphony. We are very much begging you there. So last but not least is number 5, and it's better choice of events and championships. We've got the cafe, which was great. We've got the extra missions, which you can do once to get the money. That's great. And for the person that likes solo, likes one player, we have very few championships. Where are the Sunday Cups of the world going on to the Gran Turismo Championships? Also, where are the championships with long races? There's not really enough events that are Le Mans like, that seem epic like. There's no massive endurance races, and even in the main championships, wouldn't it be nice to have pit stop races? So it is better, granted, than Gran Turismo Sport. I completely understand that in terms of the one player mode, but it is still a massive patch away from the previous Gran Turismo, and I include 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 and 6, who I all think had much better one player modes. So if you like what you see, please give us a subscribe. That will be absolutely fantastic, and we will speak to you soon. Let us know what you think in the comments down below.